Welcome to Passion Travel. Explore world street food, captivating vlogs, and inspiring journeys with us. Subscribe to experience adventure in every video. Tourtous, fried dough balls, similar to donuts. Here's how to make tourtous, delicious fried dough balls, similar to donuts. Ingredients: 2 cups all-purpose flour, 2 teaspoons baking powder, 1/4 teaspoon salt, 1/4 cup granulated sugar, 2 large eggs, 1 2-cup milk, 2 tablespoons melted butter, vegetable oil. For frying, powdered sugar. For dusting, optional. Instructions: prepare the dough. In a large mixing bowl, whisk together the flour, baking powder, salt, and granulated sugar until well combined. Mix wet ingredients. In a separate bowl, beat the eggs lightly. Then, add the milk and melted butter, and whisk until everything is well combined. Combine wet and dry ingredients. Pour the wet ingredients into the bowl with the dry ingredients. Stir gently with a wooden spoon or spatula until you have a smooth dough. Be careful not to overmix. Heat oil. In a deep fryer or large, heavy-bottomed pot, heat vegetable oil to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, 175 degrees Celsius. Make sure there is enough oil to fully submerge the dough balls. Form dough balls. Using a spoon or your hands, scoop up small portions of dough and roll them into balls, about 1 inch in diameter. You can adjust the size based on your preference. Fry the dough balls. Carefully place a few dough balls into the hot oil, making sure not to overcrowd the pot. Fry them in batches if necessary. Fry the dough balls until they are golden brown all over, about 2-3 minutes, turning them occasionally for even cooking. Drain and cool. Once the dough balls are cooked, use a slotted spoon to transfer them to a plate lined with paper towels to drain excess oil. Allow them to cool slightly before serving. Serve. Serve the tourtous warm, either plain or dusted with powdered sugar for a sweet touch. Enjoy them as a delightful snack or dessert. Moules Marinières, steamed mussels cooked with white wine, garlic, and parsley. Here's how to make Moules Marinières, a classic French dish of steamed mussels cooked with white wine, garlic, and parsley. Ingredients: 2 pounds fresh mussels, cleaned and debearded, 2 tablespoons unsalted butter, 2 cloves garlic, minced 1 shallot, finely chopped 1 cup dry white wine, 1/4 cup chopped fresh parsley, salt, and black pepper. To taste crusty bread. For serving instructions: clean the mussels. Rinse the mussels under cold running water, scrubbing them with a brush to remove any dirt or debris. Remove the beards by pulling them firmly towards the hinge of the shell. Discard any mussels that are open and do not close when tapped. Prepare ingredients: mince the garlic, chop the shallot, and chop the parsley. Set aside. Cook the aromatics. In a large pot or Dutch oven, melt the butter over medium heat. Add the minced garlic and chopped shallot and sauté until softened and fragrant, about 2-3 minutes. Add mussels and wine. Increase the heat to medium-high. Add the cleaned mussels to the pot, then pour in the white wine. Cover the pot with a lid and let the mussels steam for about 5 minutes, shaking the pot occasionally until the mussels have opened. Discard unopened mussels. Remove the lid and discard any mussels that have not opened. Use a slotted spoon to transfer the cooked mussels to a serving bowl, leaving the liquid in the pot. Season and garnish. Season the cooking liquid with salt and black pepper to taste. Stir in the chopped parsley. Serve. Pour the seasoned cooking liquid over the cooked mussels in the serving bowl. Serve immediately with crusty bread on the side for dipping into the flavorful broth. Pissaladière, a savory tart topped with caramelized onions, olives, and anchovies. Here's how to make Pissaladière, a savory tart topped with caramelized onions, olives, and anchovies. Ingredients: for the dough, 2 cups all-purpose flour, 1 teaspoon salt, 1 teaspoon sugar, 1 packet, 2 1/4 teaspoons, active dry yeast, 3/4 cup warm water, 2 tablespoons olive oil. For the topping, 4 large onions, Thinly slice 3 tablespoons olive oil, 2 cloves garlic, minced 1 teaspoon, dried thyme, salt, and black pepper. To taste 1/2 cup black olives, pitted and halved 8. 10 anchovy fillets. Optional. Fresh thyme leaves for garnish instructions. Prepare the dough. In a large mixing bowl, combine the warm water, sugar, and yeast. Let it sit for about 5-10 minutes until foamy. Stir in the olive oil, salt, and flour. Mix until a dough forms. Turn the dough out onto a floured surface and knead for about 5-7 minutes until smooth and elastic. Place the dough in a greased bowl, cover with a clean towel, and let it rise in a warm place for about 1 hour or until doubled in size. Caramelize the onions. While the dough is rising, heat 3 tablespoons of olive oil in a large skillet over medium heat. Add the thinly sliced onions, minced garlic, dried thyme, salt, and black pepper. Cook, stirring occasionally, until the onions are deeply caramelized and golden brown, about 30-40 minutes. Remove from heat and set aside. Preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 400 degree F, 200 degree C. Grease a baking sheet or line it with parchment paper. Roll out the dough. Once the dough has doubled in size, punch it down and roll it out on a floured surface into a rectangle or oval shape, about 1/4 inch thick. Assemble the Pissaladière. Transfer the rolled-out dough to the prepared baking sheet. Spread the caramelized onions evenly over the dough, leaving a small border around the edges. Arrange the halved black olives and anchovy fillets on top of the onions in a decorative pattern. Bake the Pissaladière in the preheated oven for 20-25 minutes or until the crust is golden brown and crisp. Serve. Remove the Pissaladière from the oven and let it cool slightly. Optionally, garnish with fresh thyme leaves before serving. Canard Confit. Duck leg slow cooked in its own fat until tender. Here's how to make Canard Confit, a classic French dish of duck leg, slow cooked in its own fat until tender. Ingredients: 4 duck legs, 4 cups duck fat, or substitute with rendered pork fat or goose fat. 4 cloves garlic, smashed 4 sprigs, fresh thyme, 2 bay leaves, salt and black pepper. To taste instructions. Preheat the oven. Preheat your oven to 300 degree F, 150 degree C. Prepare the duck legs. Pat the duck legs dry with paper towels and season them generously with salt and black pepper on both sides. Arrange in a baking dish. Place the seasoned duck legs in a single layer in a baking dish or oven-proof pot. Add aromatics. Tuck the smashed garlic cloves, fresh thyme sprigs, and bay leaves around the duck legs. Cover with fat. Pour the duck fat, or rendered pork or goose fat, over the duck legs until they are completely submerged. Cook low and slow. Cover the baking dish or pot with foil or a lid and transfer it to the preheated oven. Let the duck legs cook low and slow for about 2.5 to 3 hours, or until the meat is very tender and easily pulls away from the bone. Cool and store. Once the duck legs are cooked, remove them from the oven and allow them to cool in the fat. Once cooled, transfer the duck legs and some of the fat to a clean, airtight container. Store in the refrigerator for up to several weeks. Serve. When ready to eat, preheat your oven to 400 degree F, 200 degree C. Remove the duck legs from the fat and place them on a baking sheet lined with parchment paper. Roast the duck legs in the preheated oven for about 15-20 minutes or until the skin is crispy and golden brown. Foie gras, a delicacy made from the liver of a duck or goose. Foie gras is indeed a delicacy made from the liver of a duck or goose. Here's how it's typically prepared. Ingredients: fresh foie gras, duck or goose liver, salt, pepper, optional, brandy or cognac, optional. Instructions: prepare the foie gras. Start with fresh foie gras, which can usually be purchased whole or in slices from specialty food stores or online. If the foie gras is in a whole lobe, carefully separate the lobes and remove any veins or impurities. Season the foie gras generously with salt. You can also add a sprinkle of pepper if desired. Shape, optional. Foie gras can be shaped into a terrine or pâté by pressing it into a mold. Alternatively, it can be left as is for pan-searing or torchon preparation. Cooking methods. There are several ways to cook foie gras. Pan-searing. Heat a skillet over medium-high heat and sear the foie gras slices for a few minutes on each side until golden brown and crispy on the outside, while still creamy and rich on the inside. Torchon. Roll the seasoned foie gras into a cylindrical shape using plastic wrap, then poach it in simmering water for a few minutes. After cooling, unwrap and slice for serving. Terrine. Pack seasoned foie gras into a terrine mold, cover with plastic wrap, and bake in a water bath in the oven until set. Sous vide. Vacuum seal seasoned foie gras and cook it in a water bath at a precise temperature until evenly cooked. Optional. Flambe with brandy or cognac. For an extra touch of flavor, you can flambe the foie gras with brandy or cognac just before serving. Heat the alcohol in a small saucepan, ignite it with a match, and pour it over the foie gras for a dramatic presentation. Serve. Serve the cooked foie gras, hot or cold, depending on your preference. It pairs well with sweet or tangy accompaniments such as fruit preserves, balsamic reduction, or crusty bread.